Hello and welcome to episode 43 of the Product Biz podcast. I'm your host, Monica Little, and today I'm so excited to introduce you to special guest Lindsay, who is talking all about spirituality and energetics. So this is another fun woo-woo topic. We are just riding this energy train and learning about how to really show up in a way that we are aligned energetically to what we want to manifest. And Lindsay talks us through how a lot of creatives are doing the right thing. They're working really hard. They're doing everything that they should, but they're just not moving forward. And they might be just wondering, what is not working? Why is this not clicking? What is happening? And we are going to talk through today how your energy, how your vibration, how your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, how you show up, who you choose to be, the emotions you choose to have impact what you see in reality. And this is such a deep conversation, but there's so many amazing takeaways to understand how you can become the energetic alignment for what you want to attract into your life. And what Lindsay shares with us today is just going to blow your mind. And I am so excited to introduce you today to Lindsay and her amazing knowledge on spirituality and energetics to get what you want in life. Lindsay intuitively helps creatives and creators transform by helping them energetically and spiritually align with themselves by living into their inner truth and what their soul knows. After nearly 20 years of deepening her own energetic and spiritual practices, she helps others learn how to heal and unblock their own energy and find the clarity, the inspiration, the inner knowing they need so they can thrive and fully enjoy living into their deeper purpose and life that they were meant to live. Without further ado, here's our next episode with special guest Lindsay. Are you ready to go behind the scenes and learn what it really takes to create consistent sales each and every month with your handmade small business? Join me, Monica Little, self-taught multiple six-figure small business owner and your product business coach, as I give you the insight and inspiration on how to better run your business and increase your sales in ways that you may not have even been aware of, so that your business can truly become what you knew it could be back when you first started. Learn how to let go of perfection, overcome the fear of failure that is holding you back, and finally start taking action so that you walk away feeling like you've cracked the code on how to run a successful small business. You're listening to the Product Biz Podcast. Welcome, Lindsay, to the Product Biz Podcast. I am so excited to have you here today to talk all about spirituality and energetics and all of the fun woo-woo stuff that goes with it.
I'm so excited, and thank you so much for having me here. I love this stuff. So.
Oh my gosh, me too. So I'm just jazzed about this conversation. We were already just talking about so many good things. I'm like, we have to hit record because this is the gold that people need to hear. So before we really dive into spirituality, energetics, all of that fun stuff, I would love for you to just introduce yourself to the listener. Who are you? What do you do? What is your passion behind what you do? All that fun stuff.
Wow. So I am an energy healer. I am a spiritual teacher, and I'm a hypnotherapist. I work with the subconscious mind. So I work with a lot of different modalities to help people really move forward with their creativity, to help them really understand how they can work with themselves and what they know inside, what their soul knows, to really help differentiate them in the marketplace, but also how to move them forward in ways that are just unthinkable at this point, right? Like, what is now possible? So I help people step into the possibility with their creativity, and it just really lights my soul on fire. So it is, I am a creative at heart too. I've been a musician for most of my life. I enjoy doing things in the background. Like I have a lot of hobbies. I probably own all of Michael's in my house. But what I absolutely love when I work with creatives and people who have a creative mind. So that can be a creative, a maker. It could be a creator, like an online creator, right? Or an entrepreneur. These are the people, it's that creative mind that I truly believe is going to change this world. And so there is this bigger, much broader thing. So if I can help somebody tap into their true creativity, their true gifts, and what they know to be true, I know that it will help change this world one person, one creative mind at a time.
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. And I love what you said about the creative mind is what's going to change the world. And what you were saying before we hit record is how a lot of people are doing the conventional thing and it's the
Yeah.
creative person, right? The creative
Yeah.
mind that's going to bring about that change. Can you elaborate that on that a little bit?
Yeah. So if you think about it, it's, everybody, like logic has been running this world for so long. And it's really where the heart comes into the things that you do, the heart, the soul, like everything that you're able to really bring in is what lights people, their souls on fire. It's that vibrancy, it's that energy that really moves things forward, because what's been done will continue to be done in the same way, in the same patterns. You can't break a pattern without a creative outlet or
Ooh.
without a creative way to express something, right? And so I believe that every single person who's a creative has something that they are willing to give to somebody else. And that is a piece of their heart. And when their heart touches somebody else's heart, that's when the world starts to shift. And it's
Oh,
not going to be just one person, it is a collective of creatives that will move people to, I believe, like really great heights, into like really a new beautiful world, right?
oh.
And that we get to live. And I think that there is a really beautiful thing with what we're experiencing right now, because there is so much contrast right now, right? Like you can see where the logic hasn't been working, but you can see where the creativity, the love, and the people who are just like, let's band together and do something great, like where it's really making a change. And so let's just do more of it, right?
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, I want to just ask a couple fun questions before we get into the
Yes.
meat of this conversation. But number one, you said you've been a musician your whole life. So
Yeah.
tell me more. Like, what do you do in your musician? Like, is this a specific instrument? Tell me more.
Sure. So I played the violin starting from when I was 5. And it's something that really, it's something that I grew up with all throughout, elementary school, high school. And I did stop playing pretty seriously around college, because college. And I wanted to explore other things. So music has always been a very big part of my life, and I dabble with my violin still, and I have it. Do I play it as seriously? Like, am I in a symphonic orchestra anymore? No. Am I touring? No. But what I do love is that it's a really beautiful outlet for you to just express yourself. If you're having, like, there's such a beautiful energy in sound, in music. That's why there's sound healing. That's why you resonate with certain things. That's why your brain actually lights up in certain areas when music is played or when a sound is played. And so it's always really brought me into this really present space and a really beautiful place of calm. And that's that. So yeah, that's the violin.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. I love the instrument. Now my 6-year-old is like, Mommy, I want to play.
Oh my God, how sweet.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's a sweetheart.
how so sweet. And oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I relate to you so much of what you said of just having some sort of creative outlet that's not like your work, right? Because our work, no
Hmm.
matter what we do as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, what we're doing is creative, right? If it's a social
Yeah.
media post, that is creativity. If it's an email,
Right.
that is creativity. But how do we do creative things just to create, like playing the
Yeah.
violin? Or tell me more about your Michael's obsession. Do you have a favorite hobby from like your crafting Michael's?
No.
Tell me more what you like to
Okay.
do.
So I fully understand that I am a master of not much when it comes to like I have a whole calligraphy set. Am I good at it? No. But do I enjoy it? Yes. I took some pottery classes. I loved it, and I love that it brought me into this really big state of presence. Do I own a pottery wheel? Not yet. Might I? I don't know. You ask my husband if we have room for it. But it's I really enjoy jewelry making, and so I believe you've probably I don't know if you've had Kristen Vaughn on
Yes,
from
yes, I
yeah.
did.
So I have her course, right,
Oh
and
my
I think
gosh,
it's
how
so cool.
awesome. So polymer
And
clay, like making polymer
yeah,
clay. Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
I
amazing.
bought it to do with my daughter. I'm like, oh, this is really cool.
Awesome.
Um, it's just like what like my daughter's really creative too, and she's a wonderful artist. At 6, I'm like amazed at what she can draw. But it's really, gosh, I can't. I have so many things. I make candles.
Wow.
I'm asking for a metal smithing and jewelry smithing course and all the supplies, so I will have more in my
Ooh.
arsenal. So it's a lot of things.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And
I'm
that just,
finishing furniture.
ooh. Oh my
Yeah, we built
gosh.
this. I know that nobody can see it on your podcast, but I have a big like console thing behind me that my husband and I made. So it's yeah, just a lot of things.
Oh my gosh, I love it, but it's that I know we're going to talk about energy but creative
Mhm.
energy is such a
Mm.
big part of it and just having these hobbies like you said, are you going to become a professional calligrapher and sell greeting cards? Maybe not, but just having fun with it and just having these hobbies.
Yeah,
Love, love, love to hear it. Okay,
yeah,
cool. So that was just a little side tangent. You mentioned being a musician and Michael, so
yeah,
I'm like I have to ask what this is. But let's dive into spirituality and energetics a little bit
yeah,
more. I would love to start right at the basics on
yeah.
for someone maybe who's not super familiar with it, but what is energy at a very
Oh,
basic level? What is energy? How does it work? How would you explain that to someone who's maybe new to it?
yeah. So energy. Well, first let's start off with science. Energy is science. Everything is energy, period,
Mm,
right? We've learned about this. You can't create it, nor can you destroy it, but you can transfer, you can transmute, and transform. And so if you start to think about it, we are all energetic beings. Trees are energy, crystals are energy. We are all like everything that is around us is energy. And so, if you really start to think about this concept of energy, everything is alive. Even your wooden desk is alive. And everything that is alive also gets to carry a story. And so, if you start to think about this, like how energy works and how you can start to really work with it, sometimes people will say, like, oh, your energy is so great. Like, it's this unspoken language that we all carry. It's this, invisible language, if you want to call it that. So, if somebody's not like if somebody's just like angry, like you can tell that they're angry and you don't even really have to look at them. You can like walk into a room and be like, "Ooh, I think a fight was here." It's because the energy is being held in that space. Or if somebody is just like magnetic or just like super happy. I love to say like, Kate Hudson and like Matthew McConaughey are like I think they just had like their whole like they just had an anniversary with one of their movies and I was like I watched it on Instagram. Anyways, it was they just have this like vibrancy to them and it's just like wow, I would love to be around them. So if you guys are listening to this, please you can find me like Matthew McConaughey and like Kate Hudson and all of you like come find me, we'll be friends. But it's just one of those things like even Oprah, right? Like she carries this really calm and like present energy, right? And you can always tell what that is. But so if you can tell other people, you also carry a signature energy too. So I guess that's the best way to describe it in a
yeah.
way like what is it?
Oh my gosh, I
Right?
love it. And for someone who's maybe new to energy and they're like, oh my gosh, I have an energy. What is my energy? How would you explain to them on how they can get a cue of where their energy is? Because you gave a couple examples of vibrancy, of Oprah being very calm, like all these different
Yeah.
situations. But how can someone check in with their own energy if they're like, what am I giving off right now?
Yeah. So a lot of people who are even aware of energy tend to be empaths. So these are people who can feel energy in a room or just pick up like, oh, I know that somebody's happy or I know that somebody's sad, right? So a really great way to like if you're feeling really happy, ride with it, please. Like let that be your energy, right? Like, but so we all have like this I don't want to say a default energy, but I think it's the best way to describe it. It's like your constant state. So
Hmm.
wherever that is, that's your frequency, right? And so I'll talk about energy is frequency. So I'll talk about frequency in this here too. So when we are vibrating at a certain frequency, we can either go up or we can go down, like scales on a piano, right? Like you can go up and you can go down, but you have like your middle, is it like a middle C, right? So if you think about that, you can go up and you can go down, but it always comes back to the middle. And so sometimes, like if you have triggers or if you haven't worked on certain parts of yourself, the shadow parts, the lower frequencies, you'll sometimes go down into the lower frequency. But
Beautiful.
when you are so used to not like once you've healed those parts, you can go much higher. And so that middle C then starts to go up higher and higher and higher. And so you start to default in love and calm and happiness and joy and enlightenment, all of these really beautiful things. And so if you're like, wow, that person is like, everybody has the ability to move up the scale, which is a beautiful thing. But and so you don't, no one ever needs to judge, like if they have a lower vibration, that's or lower frequency, that's okay. You just get to notice where that is. No judgments needed. It's just the opportunity that you have. If you're feeling foggy or angry or triggered or sad or guilty or shameful, any of these things, those are lower vibrational frequencies. And you can say, wow, if I'm stuck there for a really long time or just feeling like, meh, then that's a really good opportunity for you to be like, wow, what else can I do to bring in more joy, more flow, more all of that, right? Because that's all higher vibration. So,
Oh my gosh, I love it. And a couple things that you said, I heard you say the word a couple times, how you're feeling.
yeah.
So is your energy basically how you're feeling, your emotions? I know you just mentioned, if there's some of those lower frequencies of maybe scarcity or doubt or nervous or scared or anxious or whatever it may be, is your energy truly how you feel at this moment?
Well, so if we start to go into like, what is our truth? Our truth are our emotions. So
Mm.
our emotions talk about what is true to me right now, right? But your energy is not just based on that. You have physical energy, you have mental, you have emotional, and you have spiritual. So you have a lot of different types of energy that are all working inside of you or inside of you and outside of you, way outside of you. That becomes your energetic field, right? But when you start looking at like feelings are a really good place to start. How am I feeling right now? Right? Really great place to start because you're starting from a truth. And the great thing is that you can ask yourself in your mind and you don't have to share it with anybody, right? It becomes, but sometimes facing that truth with ourselves is just, like we'd rather ignore it because we know that we know. It's like, how can you hide from yourself? Like you can't because you're always with yourself. So if you're feeling a certain way, that's a really great place to start.
Okay.
How am I feeling right now? And then you can ask, is that my energy or is that somebody else's?
Mm, I
Because
think
if you
that's
are somebody who picks up on other people's stuff, you can carry it very easily as your own. And when you start to notice the difference, being like, that's not mine, everything changes.
yes, I love that. And I have this story just to
Yeah.
bring what you just said into an example. I remember my husband and I think we were going back to Michigan to see our family. And for me, I don't really get too anxious with like packing and getting ready, but all of a sudden I had this anxiety. And I'm like, okay, packing, we're going home for a weekend. Why am I feeling anxious? But my husband will get anxious before because he had a long day at work. He's got so many things to do. He's maybe not as good as reducing some of the anxiety. So I just paused for a second and I'm like, is this my anxiety or am I literally picking up on my husband's? And I'm like, that's not my feeling at all. I'm just picking up on his little energy. So it's so interesting what you said when you truly get aware of, okay, how am I feeling right now? What emotions are coming up? What is my energy versus what is maybe around me that I'm picking up? You start to notice how you can be impacted, but then you can also let it go and be like, oh, that's not mine. I'm just going to
Yeah.
release it and let it flow
Yeah.
through and keep
Uh-huh.
going with my own state of where I was
Yeah.
at.
And sometimes it takes just moving like out of your home or your office or your studio, right? If you're just like, gosh, I'm feeling so like I'm feeling so uninspired or not motivated today. Literally go outside for a walk. Leave your phone, or like if you have to have your phone, put it in your pocket so you don't touch it, and just go for a walk and
Hmm.
get really present with yourself. And just let your mind go and walk until you're like, okay, I'm good. But
Yeah.
that's only that halfway back. And then you walk as the good on all the way back. So you walk until you feel better. And
Ooh.
then you continue it on the way back and being able to get more present with where you're at. Because at that point, you've grounded out likely what's not yours.
I love that. I love that so much. And that brings up a good question. So when we talk about energy and, frequency and the scale that you mentioned of low vibration versus high vibration, do we personally have the ability to move up and down based on our own will?
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing can shake your will. Not higher spiritual realm, not another person. Your will is it is literally your key to unlocking everything. And so you can make a choice. You can either, and I know that this sounds so much more simple, but you can make things as simple or as hard as you want. And so when you decide to choose, and that's not meaning that you're not going to be breaking old patterns and habits and things that you've done for so long, but as soon as you notice, you can then start to move in a different way, being like, oh, I notice I'm here. Okay, what choice can I make? I can either stay in it or I can move myself out of it. But it's that constant coming back. And as you start to practice it, it starts to really you become better at it, right? Anything, like any creative thing that we do, anything in business that we do, the more we do it, the better we become. It's a practice, right? It's a journey. It's not like you just do it once and you're done, right? Like energy healing. People are like, oh, well, I had my energy healed. I'm like, great. And like, they're like, oh, I'm feeling bad again in a month. It's because they've had some things, they've had flow restored, but they haven't actually healed the things that have brought them to that space in the first place. And so, granted, it can help and it can alleviate. It's like a pill, but it won't actually solve anything until you actually work on the energy and what's causing the energy drainage or leaks, or or like these, like you can have sparks of energy too, until you can actually really learn how to control it and manage it. It'll go every which way, right? Like somebody can say something to you, you can get that email and be like, oh man, and then like all of a sudden there's an energy leak, you're down into lower vibration. But like, let's say you go and like have a great chat with a friend, you're back up. But when you stop letting the external impact your energy, that's when you have all of your power.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful because I know a lot of people, and I think back to my own experience too. I used to think that I didn't have any control of that, right? If someone pissed me off, it pissed me off, and my whole day is ruined. But I love what you said, and that's something that I really started to embrace a couple years ago too. Is like I get to choose how I react. I get to choose how I look at every single situation. I get to choose how the quote unquote bad things affect me or don't affect me, or what I learn from them, or how I view them, or how I grow from it. And it truly is your choice,
Oh,
right?
it's
Like
so
it's
beautiful.
yeah, and I think a lot of people, at least what I used to do is you don't want to have that choice because it forces you to take accountability, right? It forces you to be like something's got to change. I have the power, but maybe people don't want things to change, right? So do you have any do you notice that that happens, or do you have any words of advice or anything that may come up in that type of situation?
Like when you just don't want to do it because you don't want to face it, or
Yeah, but maybe you are real. For example, what if someone is realizing, like, okay, I wake up every single day and I'm just annoyed, and I'm just annoyed at my partner, or I'm annoyed at my work. But now I'm hearing that I don't have to be annoyed. I can choose a better vibration. But what if someone doesn't want to, right? What if they're like, I'm so used to being annoyed and I just want to be annoyed? Is there any advice or guidance that we can give someone in that situation?
well, I think that, being letting yourself be annoyed is a pattern, right? And
Mhm.
we all get to choose. So I say let yourself. So you can have somebody who has nothing and they are letting themselves still be happy, and they can still let themselves give, and they can still let themselves receive. But then you have people who have everything and they let themselves be negative, pick up on the bad vibes, not let like themselves go on vacation because they don't think that they deserve it. But if they just start to realize, and these are patterns, these are not easy to always break by yourself, right? And I understand this, but I wasn't always like this either. So like there's been a lot of healing in my journey as well. And so I used to let myself be angry. I used to let myself be sad. And you know what? Let yourself understand why you're angry, why you're sad, what is making you be this way. And when you start asking yourself better questions, like, what is causing this? What can I now do about this? That's when you start bringing your power back. And power, energy, is really where it's all at. So once you start bringing that power back to yourself versus letting everybody else have that power over you, God, what, like, once you get a taste of it, once you get a taste of the good stuff, there's no going back. You won't want to be there anymore. It's no longer comfortable because you've taken yourself out of that comfort of being angry or sad or lonely or angry, whatever. And you've put yourself into a different vibration. It's like having a piece of candy or like having like a really beautiful fruit. Like if you go to like a tropical island or something, you're like, God, I need more of that. I need another mango.
I was just gonna say best mango I ever had. Yes. Seriously.
Right?
Oh my
And
gosh.
you want more of it. You want that taste of it and you crave it. And so what you crave, you wind up moving towards.
Yeah.
And that's healing.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I think that's so beautiful of how you talk about like your personal power. And I'm probably willing to guess, have you read the book The Four Agreements?
Yes.
Yes, such a good one of how he talks about, don't take anything personally. Like, don't let anyone change or alter your energy. Like, have your energy be your energy. And obviously, stuff is going
Yeah.
to happen and external circumstances are going to happen, but you literally get to choose if this catapults you into a spiral and then you're down for a week, or if you literally choose to acknowledge it,
Yep.
process any emotions, but not let anything really affect you or take it personally, right?
Yeah. And from that book, there's also another wonderful takeaway. Always do your best.
Mm.
Nothing more, nothing less. And your best will change from day to day. Sometimes you are sick. What is your best? Maybe it might just be like brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, and like maybe a shower, right? Like if you're really sick, right? Or sometimes your best is like, I'm going on like a 10-mile run and then I'm doing this and then I'm doing that. Then I'm going to go create. Great. Let your best be whatever it can be that day because our energy ebbs and flows, right? And that's okay. But as long as you're doing your best, your frequency stays up because you know that you've done what you can. And it's not about trying because trying means that you're actually not doing.
Mm.
I am doing my best. I'm not trying my best. I am doing my best. Right? Such a big difference between those two words, but such a beautiful way to shift, right? Put yourself into action
I love it.
and
So
things will always change.
so beautiful. So I want to take this energetic conversation and pivot a little bit on how does your energy play a vital role in business? What is your take on how energy, frequency, your feelings, your emotions, how does that impact business?
Oh, it's everything. So, it's one of those things like you need skill. Skill is very important. So, I'm never going to say don't get the skills.
Right.
And there's going to be learning that you need, like how to market yourself, especially if you don't know how to market yourself, or like how to frame certain things so that it resonates better with somebody, right? But it's like how, like, when you've done all of those things and you've done them likely many times, and that I've done this too. Like I've taken so many courses, so many. And I mean, like I'm a course hoarder and I love my courses because I like to learn. And there's something about always being a student that I absolutely love. But when being a student is taking you out of your knowing and you're actually not doing, that's the chance that you get to start working inside with your energy. If what was once working no longer works, something needs to be fixed, right? And it's like, well, what is that? Do you need another skill? I was collecting so many different skills for so long where I was just like, why is this not working anymore? And I'm like, oh, it's my energy because I'm so down. Like I was like in this like super serious mode and like, like I was literally closing off my energy to everything else because I like needed to be in this bubble to think and to learn and to do all the things. And, it's one of those things like if you feel like you're on the precipice of something and you still don't have it, although you've done all the things, all the things. That's really when it's time to start looking inside. Where is my energy?
Mm.
Where is my attention? How can I shift this? What do I need to shift? And what do I need to let go of? Because in order to get from one place to another, you can't keep doing the same things. Because if you don't change something, you won't have what else you want, right? You can keep doing the same things to keep up the pattern and where you are. Like if you want to maintain a weight, you just keep eating the same stuff. You keep doing the same things. But if you want to, work on your health, you're going to have to change something, right? Or if you don't, and if you slide, then you like that changes something and you get another effect, right? And so it's the same thing with your energy. Sometimes it can become stagnant when we start to feel unfulfilled, when we start to feel like there's something more and I can't get there. And it's all these things, but that's really about where the shedding of these lower energies and the things that trigger them. Some people might call it shadow work as well. There's some of that where you just focus on like what's causing all of this, like what's causing you to be held back and how can you begin to unlock it? How can you tap into that energy but stay in it
Yes.
to move you forward? It's not about just going into it and being like, oh, I can create and then go back. It's how can I stay in it, right?
Yes, and I have a specific example I want to run by you.
Yeah.
So, for a lot of people who have product businesses, January, February, March even is usually a pretty slow season for sales. Obviously, after Christmas and the holidays, everyone was buying stuff. So, a lot of small business owners in Q1 are a little frazzled because their sales aren't there. So, I know you mentioned a lot about where you place your attention.
Mm.
So, if there's an example of someone who's doing all the right things, putting in all the work, building their business, but the sales aren't just there yet. And that's what they're focusing on, the sales that aren't there. What would be your recommendation on how to change where your attention is? What would be a better place to focus that attention in this example?
What a great question. So, where you place your attention is where your energy goes. So, if you are like feeling like you're lacking something, you're going to start getting into this. It's a spiraling energy of like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be able to have this money, or I don't have this money. When in reality, you're probably doing all right. So what I always like to say is like after you come off of a really big high, like I had the best sales season ever, give yourself a break and celebrate and find the energy you want to stay in. Then take that energy and say, what else now? I know that this is a slower season. This is my creating season. This is my inspiration season. This is the season where I get to do something amazing, right? Give yourself the permission to have fun. And that doesn't mean go spend millions of dollars on like fancy schmancy vacations if you don't want. Go ahead and do it if you can. Like, great. And take me with you. I'll hang. But it's about really tapping into that frequency and celebration, knowing like I did something really phenomenal and I'm really proud of myself, and using that as evidence of being like, I can do this again. I just know that this is when other people are buying things because it is a big holiday season. It's not always going to be that busy, but you know this, right? And say, this is a quote unquote truth. Great. But then what else can you do to make these sales? What energy can you be in to attract these different sales? Because if you are stinking excited and in the celebratory mood and like End of January, March, all these times that are quote unquote slow. If you are like, God, I just came up with the best thing and I have, I only have so much because I've made these myself, but I am so excited about these and people are raving about them already. You don't think that those things are going to fly off the shelf because that energy is contagious. Get into the celebratory energy and carry that on through in your slow seasons. Get amped, get excited, but not faked. Get like really passionate about what you do. And if your heart isn't in it, ask yourself, where can I put my heart? Where is it that where is that heart energy? The one that I know can elevate me up and like really push the stuff to like get going. Like, because it's that energy that makes it fun, that makes it exciting, puts you into flow. And wouldn't you know, all of that energy that you put into what you create, your artwork, because everything a creator does is art. That is one, healing for somebody else. It's something that somebody else can enjoy, and that energy can be felt. I have a painting that was done of my dog, and I know the artist. She's wonderful. It's lifelike. It's like I can't even. And I can tell she poured so much heart and attention into it. And like, and maybe it's just because I can read energy, but I mean, you can tell when somebody's taken a lot of care and like pride in something and like, I did something really cool. You can tell. And when you receive it, you're like, gosh, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I love this.
I love this entire conversation that you said. What if
Right.
someone is feeling like they are faking it? Like, what would you recommend for them? How do they create this type of fun? Is it as simple, like you said, go for a walk, do something else creative, find a way to increase this energy? Or what if someone's like truly struggling and they feel like they can't even fake it?
Yeah, it's like sometimes there is something to say like fake it till you make it, right? Like I am working on my health right now, and so I am eating as a healthy person does, right? I'm looking at myself in the future. What do I who am I in the future who is a healthier version of me? What am I doing? Okay, great. I'm eating more salads, I'm eating more protein, I'm eating more clean food, right? I'm taking vitamins. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to do that now. Right. And so, like, what does the other version the version that you are going towards, what are they doing? And how can you start embodying that now? And that's not tomorrow. And that's not in an hour. What can you do now? What is that person doing? Are they getting up and having a solo dance party in their studio? Probably. Right. Like, are they belting out, like, I don't know, like, I don't know. I had the Eagles on. Like I'm not that old, but I love like heartier music. I'm like singing Hotel California. Like I don't know. Like I'm jamming to this stuff as I'm like creating like a free resource. Like creating a free resource can be boring, but for me, I get really excited. I'm like jamming, like sometimes I'll go to a coffee shop. Sometimes I'll move where I work just to get re-inspired because like sometimes it's like overhearing a conversation, like not that I'm eavesdropping, but I'm eavesdropping. And it's just like, but like you hear somebody talk about something like, oh, I get them and be like, oh, that's actually a really great idea. And it sparks something else. Again, the creative mind can pick up on something and be so inspired by like the smallest thing. And sometimes it just takes like moving into another room in your space. Or sometimes it just means like going out, like go to Target, go to the decor aisle. Like, I don't know, like
go to Michael's. We just talked about all these great hobbies.
I mean, I love going into Anthropologie.
Yeah.
Anthropologie is one of my favorite stores. And I'm not quite sure if you know this, but if you do, like, I'll just tell everybody, they wind up having different scents in different areas because they want to transport the people throughout the store. And so they have different themes to different places, to different things too. So notice the next time you go in, like how the smell might start to change, but they do this as a sensory experience. I always leave feeling so inspired. I'm like, oh,
wow.
And like also like a few $100s poorer. Or maybe what you could say is a few $100s richer because I now get to like, like be excited about like it because like, you bought it in a certain energy. I'm pretty sure like if you walk into an Anthropologie or any space that like really inspires you, if you're going in kind of a funk, you're leaving feeling a little bit better, right? Let yourself do that.
I
Let
love it.
yourself go into a new space and feel better. I've been working down in my dining room because I love the light down there right now. And I love just sitting in like the light coming in from one of the windows. It feels so good. And it's such a different perspective. So I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to sit down there for when I do this type of work now. And it changes a lot.
Yeah, and a couple of main things that you said. I think what you said is like find inspiration. If you are feeling this maybe energy low or maybe noticing some of the scarcity or things aren't where you want them to be right now, find a way to shake things up, find a way to make it
Yeah.
fun, find a way to bring the energy up, find some inspiration, do something different. But I also love what you said is what is the future version of you? Like, how are they acting? So, if you think about a small business owner who is making six figures, multiple six figures, are they worried about a slow January or February? Or are they working on their business, having a great time, and knowing that it's going to be slow, but also knowing that it's going to take off, knowing that, like you said, they have time for creativity, come up with new ideas, test some new stuff. Like they're not phased by a potential slow period. They're not over here worrying and second guessing themselves. They're just like, all right, I'll take it and I'll be creative. I'll be ingenuitive. I'll find a way, or I'll just
Yeah.
overcome it and not let it affect me and take
Yeah.
me down this spiral.
Totally. And it's, and allowing yourself that rest,
Mm.
right? But like not taking yourself out of motion.
Ooh, okay. Tell me the difference between those.
And so like how like body at rest stays at rest, but a body in motion stays in motion. So
Mm.
you can allow your mind to rest, but maybe it's about having fun doing something else, right? Like you can do so many other things. That doesn't mean like you have like you can put down whatever you're working on for a day and you can come back to it. Do something else that keeps your mind in motion, keeps your energy in motion. Because it's one of those things where, like our minds, the way that they work are different than somebody who like just works with numbers all the time. I mean, you can be really creative with numbers if you're like a computer programmer, right? Like, so like maybe I shouldn't be dinging numbers, right? But if you're sitting there, like whatever is like, we're not logical people.
Mhm.
And when we try to perfect something, that's logic. What is perfect? Perfect doesn't exist. We're artists, we're creative. We'll always think of something different to do later. Be like, oh, this is so much better. Right. But like, let that be part of your journey and your growth. Like, I'm so much better at almost 40 than I was in my 20s. Like, I let myself grow. Right. Like, let yourself expand. I'm so glad I was not perfect at 20 because 40 would be boring.
I love it. Yes. Like, what a good
Right.
perspective shift. Seriously. That's so
Yeah.
perfectly said.
It's just like, what is perfect enough?
For
What,
right
or,
now.
but what, and maybe even just take perfect out of it. What is making me happy right now? Let that be your perfect. What is happy? What is making me happy? And don't let it be anything outside of you. Let it be something that comes from you. Because when you start bringing back that happiness, that control of your happiness, regardless of what's going on outside a slow month, you're still a creator. You're still in your groove, right? And it's okay to have slow months. Maybe that is the rest that you need. So when you have a busy month, you are amped up. But then, like, sometimes you got to take like, you don't have to go you don't have to go like 90 miles an hour every single time you go into the car. You can go like 20. It's okay. It's also a speed limit somewhere. you know?
Yes. So
Yeah, it can't
perfectly
always be
said.
on.
I
Can't
love it.
always be fully on. Stay
Yeah.
on, but not fully pedal to the metal, right?
Yes. I love it. I love what you said. Like, stay in motion, do something else creative,
Yeah.
find a way. So beautifully said. So, I want to switch gears a little bit and ask you this question. We talked
hmm
about energy.
hmm
What does it mean to be an energetic match in what you want to bring in?
Mm. Oh, I love this question so much. So, if you were to take the piano again, right? That middle C. And I hope that everybody understands. It's just like in the middle of it's like where you kind of like it's like on a keyboard, like on your like for those who aren't musicians, if you were to have like your keyboard that you're typing on, like the F and the J have like those like little tiny like nubby things. That's kind of like your center, right? And so that's where kind of like the middle C is, so you know where to play. Anyway, so so where when you start to what we want or what we desire is typically a higher vibrational frequency. So love, if you don't have love, right? Higher vibrational frequency. A lot of things are wrapped up in love, in the energy of love, right? Or higher. We want things that are abundant. Abundance is a really high vibrational energy. We're like, oh, we want abundance. So let's say you find a penny on the street. You pick it up and you're like, oh, it's just a penny. I love on that penny. It's more than I had. It's the energy of receiving. And so when we start to look at being an energetic match for something, it's really about making sure that you are consistently and constantly in the state of that energy that you want to be receiving. And so that doesn't mean faking it until you make it. It means sometimes you have to take little steps to get to that frequency. Do that. That's okay. Fake that part, right? Until it becomes part of who you are. Do it, right? Like, I don't like going running at the gym all the time, but am I somebody who is working on their health? Yes. So I go, but I always feel good afterwards. I'm like, no, I'm just going to go. It can be for 5 minutes. I will still go, right? So I'm still in that energy of like, gosh, if I like health, like good health is in a really high vibrational state. In order for me to get there, I need to put my mind there. And even just going and letting that be the thing that I do is a higher state of energy. I'm working my way up there. So you can be in a lot of different energetic states too, right? Like you can have your default, you know, kind of like your normal state that you kind of come back to all the time. And you can then and that's the state that you kind of want to always be in if you want to receive the things that you want. So that's what the energetic match is, right? So let's let's think about being an energetic match as being like a radio frequency, right? So we start to look at a radio frequency as like, let's say we have like 101.5, and that's like an oldie station here. So when we start to do that, it's one of those things where it, like if you are at like 101 or like 100, like you're going to get static or a different station, right? But if you're tuning into 101.5 and the frequency in the sound frequency waves are also at 101.5, you're going to have the match and it's going to play really crystal clear. But if you start going out of range, or if like you start to go up, sometimes you'll get into different radio stations that are that energetic match. So if you start to think about like, what is the energy of money, right? Or what is the energy of like love or whatever it is that you desire? You must tune into that frequency and you need to stay there, because once you start moving away from it, you get the static or you just don't get that station. So very much it is the same thing with your energy. If you want love, you need to be in the energy of love. And that is also a giving and a receiving. It is not just giving, giving, giving because you think you're going to get. It's giving with your heart. It is giving, knowing that from somewhere, you have to release expectation where it's going to come from. It will come to you. So it's also about releasing expectation. The how is not your business. The how is none of your business because you can't control other people. You just know that it will be where you are because that is the state that you are in. So that's really what the energetic match is. So if you want more business, you need to pour that heart in. You need to pour that soul in. You need to pour that energy of love and support in all the things that are beautiful. And then at some point, somewhere, that will be returned to you in likeness. It's the law of reciprocity. It is a universal law.
Mm-hmm. And I love what you said of just releasing expectation of when that will come back.
Yeah.
Because we live in such an instant world where we want to see results tomorrow for what we did today, but you're creating, you're building an empire, building a foundation, you're taking it step by step, you're working on your energy, and when it all comes back to you, that's something that we can't have a stronghold on. and expect
No.
it or be anxious or anticipate, and just know what's
Right.
meant for me will come. I'm working on myself, I'm working on my energy, I'm working on
Mhm.
my creativity, I'm working on making sure that I'm being the best person that I can be, and
Yeah.
whatever is meant for me
Yeah.
that is an energetic match to where I am will come.
Yep. And it's, yeah, it's also that energy that stays in motion. You can be quiet sometimes, like sometimes there's that self-reflective time where we all need to get quiet, right? And like we need to go inside and be like, gosh, what do I need? Right? Asking yourself, what do I need right now is a really beautiful thing. And it's not like a need like you're lacking, but it's just like it's a good checking in with yourself, right? And it's just like when you give yourself the permission to check in, like sometimes I'm like, well, what do I need right now? I'm like, I need a break.
Yeah.
I need a glass of water.
Or
I
wine.
need it, or I need coffee. Right? But like, or like, if you find yourself saying, I need a vacation, something's off.
Mm,
You shouldn't need a vacation. You should just want to go on one.
I love it.
When you need something because you're like, I need relief, that is a really good time to check in with yourself and like where you're at and what you're doing, where that energy is. And it might not be in alignment anymore because it might have been created by a past version of you.
Mm,
And that's okay too.
beautiful.
I've had two businesses so far. I'm on my third. So,
Yeah, I mean,
but this is where I'm supposed to be, right? Everything leads to something else. And let that happen. You are a creative. You can get this done.
I love it.
Yeah.
So beautifully said. So, so, so
Thanks.
beautifully said. Well, oh my gosh, I feel like we could just talk for hours. You have given
Probably.
us so much amazing information on energy and vibration and
Mm, yeah.
becoming the version of you, releasing expectation. So, so, so many amazing things. And I know people will have a great time hearing and will re listen and pick up on all the nuggets that you dropped. I would love for you to share where people can find you, stay in touch with you, tell us more about your program or whatever you want to share with the
Sure.
listeners as we wrap
Oh,
up today.
well, thank you. I am very active. I in my DMs on Instagram. So lindsayjani.co. It's with an AY. So lindsayjani.co is a great place to find me. I respond to all of my DMs. I love to be in the DMs. I don't post a whole lot, but I also choose not to put all of my energy into just the Instagrams. But I am also working on making sure that I am showing up a little bit as well. So we all get to work on something and we all get to grow, right? So lindsayjani.co is a great place. You can find me online at lindsayjani.com.
Ooh.
So different. And I have a program. It's a group coaching program that lasts 8 weeks, and it's a beautiful container. It is it's one of my favorite creations. And it's so beautiful to see how people come in and how they leave. And they leave completely different in such beautiful ways where they're tapping into what they have always known to be true and how to move forward in a way that lights them up and resonates with their soul and just fully aligns with where they've always wanted to go. Are they bajillionaires yet? No. But I certainly believe that if they continue, anything's possible. It is the journey. And in order to start the journey, there are things that sometimes we just need to release, but we don't know exactly what that is either. And so I'm highly intuitive, and I help people also in that program go into finding what actually has to be released in order for them to move forward. So that's what I do.
Oh my gosh. So
And
amazing.
yeah, and yeah, if anyone wants to talk to me, lindsayjani.co on Instagram.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And
Yes,
you are
thank
just such
you.
an inspiration. And this is so important, this conversation, and so much great insight about truly coming back to yourself and getting in touch with what sparks your heart and finding that joy and creativity and the work that you're doing and the people you are supporting and helping is just so impactful. So I am
Thank
just so honored to have
you.
had this conversation with you today. We'll have to
Me
get you back for
too.
part two because I know there's some other things that we could keep talking about, but
I would love
it was
to.
my honor and thank you so much. I'll make sure to
Oh,
link
thank you.
your contact info, all that fun stuff in the show notes so people can follow you along. And with that, I just want to say thank you for being a guest on the Product Biz podcast.
No, thank you for
Talk
having me.
soon.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.